The subject of this presentation is a close friend of mine whom we will call Rosa. She is a Mexican national living near Mexico City with intermittent exposure to the United States culture. We have been friends on Facebook for nearly a year, and a half of our personal interactions equal a quarter of that time. We frequently communicate through phone conversations, and I am quite informed of her daily activities. Taking the psychodynamic approach, we will use Carl Jung's theory of personality to evaluate Rosa's personality through a tangible environment versus her social media persona. In real life, Rosa is an extrovert. She is very energetic, outgoing, sociable, and friendly. Jung highlights that extroversion versus introversion is the fundamental attitude of the individual and is one of the primary personality types. Rosa's demeanor is expressed outwardly with people she interacts with. Her thoughts and ideas flow naturally as she easily articulates her disposition in given situations. Jung labeled 4 psychological functions in combination with extroversion and introversion: thinking or feeling, sensation, or intuition. Rosa is an intelligent person but is driven by her emotions. This is consistent with Jung's interpretation of feeling because she makes choices that increase positive emotions, such as excitement, pleasure, or joy, and avoids negative emotions, such as anxiety, pain, or sorrow. Rosa's behavior is indicative of this pattern by her practice of seeking happiness versus uncomfortable reason. An example of this behavior can be seen with her failed 22-year marriage. Since the first year of her marriage, Rosa suspected her husband of infidelity. With surmounting evidence growing every year since, Rosa ignored all the signs and stayed content in her relationship because the alternative would be too painful. The psychological function of sensation and intuition are described as ways to getting information about the world. The difference is in the details, in which a person who focuses on the particularities of a situation is considered a sensation type, whereas an intuition type looks at the bigger picture. Rosa portrays the latter, in which she is aware of her environment as a whole versus detailed description. To expand on this characteristic, Rosa is skilled at empathizing with people and recognizing potential future outcomes. Based on Jungian theory, the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator is a personality instrument that evaluates 4 personality type dichotomies: extroversion versus introversion, sensing versus intuition, thinking versus feeling, and judging versus perceiving. The result is a 4-letter code that defines personality type. You will notice that the MBTI has a 4th set of types that are not presented by Jung: judging and perceiving. The judging and perceiving is an attitude type that was formulated by Myers and Briggs to collaborate with the extroversion and introversion to clarify which functions will be expressed. Rosa clearly falls into the perceiving category. The Myers-Briggs Foundation website states that those who are perceiving prefer a flexible and spontaneous way of life and prefer to adapt to a world rather than organizing it. Taking all of the information provided on Rosa, her MBTI personality score would be ENFP. With Rosa being from Mexico, cultural consideration was taken into account. Researchers have used a multi-wave approach to compile data from 22 different countries with distinct languages. Testing the validity and the classical test theory, items response theory, and latent class analysis, the researchers concluded that the MBTI is a valid global assessment tool. Rosa's Facebook profile paints a different picture. Her public online persona is not as outgoing as she is in real life. Rosa's social interactions are limited and calculated, with her last newsfeed dating December 25th, 2019, in which she was tagged by a friend. The last feed posted by Rosa herself was on January 15, 2019, sharing a memory of the previous December. During the year of 2019, Rosa participated very little on Facebook, not even demonstrating a like for the tags. In 2018 and previous years, she had a more interactive demeanor, Still not very outgoing, she appropriately responded to comments on her feed with customary language that is not defining of her personality. Research has indicated that extroverts spend less time with online communication compared to introverts. The reasoning for this assertion could be the lack of necessity for extroverts to further express themselves. Considering the online persona factors, Rosa's MBTI score would be ISTJ. These characteristics are the opposite of her real-life persona. The model of the interpersonal self is the multipath approach to personality can explain why such discrepancies occur. According to Appel and Kim Appel, the interpersonal level of the self is a social relationship field in which family and friends provide well-being benefits and feedback for human development. Rosa is a part of a close-knit family in which constant reinforcement is provided by her direct environment. Culture may play a dominating role in Rosa's lack of social media interaction. Since Rosa is a Mexican national, she is part of a collective culture. Modesty is stronger in collective cultures versus individualistic cultures, and overrating oneself has a negative social impact. This theory suggests that people, especially extroverts, who maintain healthy social relationships in collective societies express themselves on a personal level more than with online self-promotion. Another dimension that the model of interpersonal self explains the discrepancy between Rosa's reality-based personality assessment and her online persona is her romantic relationship. Rosa has been dating an individual since March 2019 and has become more introverted in her online interaction. Narcissistic individuals tend to be more extroverted online and demonstrate interests in alternatives to their partner. This is clearly not the case with Rosa, since she has all but abandoned the use of Facebook. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.